Hello, mathematicians. So now that we're in a hybrid version of class, most of the instructions are going to be through video instruction. And how I teach my class is actually through flipped learning. So most of the instruction you would get, even if this was a fully in class situation with everyone here, would be um, through video instruction. The first thing you want to do is go to the Andover homepage. So ASPS1.net. And then if you go to schools, since you're in Wood Hill, you scroll down and go to this homework links and educational resources. Since you're now in 7 East, you'll click that one. And math brings you to my homepage. So one way you can see the lessons is if you hover over 7th grade math, or if you're in accelerated, you can hover over that one. And you can click this and you'll see all of the lessons in each parts. So typically there's a review part. Okay, sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's reading from the textbook or playing a game. Next is the notes. So the notes are where you take your interactive notebook and you'll watch me as I guide you through learning how to complete the lesson. Sometimes there are handouts that you'll have to cut out, and we'll go over that later. The practice portion is usually from the textbook, and when you finish that, because we're in a hybrid situation, you're going to take a picture of that practice and you'll upload it to either Google Classroom or whatever platform we end up using. Throughout the notes, there's going to be some questions for you to do on your own. When you finish those questions, you're going to raise your hand and let the teacher know. And that way they will see if you got those correct and you're ready to move on. So they're really just checking to make sure that you understand the concept that you're learning and that you don't need any help. Remember, if you do need help, you just have to raise your hand. Another way is through my virtual classroom. So let's say you're in 7th grade math. You can click the door to get into 7th grade math. And here you have a whole list of resources. There's math manipulatives. So if you click this link here, that'll bring you to all the different resources you might need to complete an assignment, such as a number line or calculator. If we hit the exit, then it brings us back to the beginning, and we can go back to 7th grade math. Usually the do now is going to be to first check your goal calendar, which we'll go over soon, work towards your learning target, and then be sure to get your on your own questions checked, which is what we just went over. Here is a little link to Google Classroom, and this is a link to your class link page. What I'd like to go over first is the unit timeline for all the skills you'll be learning this year. So we have 8 units. They're broken down into months. Okay, and then those are broken down into skills. So our first unit is going to be rational number operations. And we can zoom in if we want. So what you're going to be doing is you'll go skill by skill until you complete the unit. You might not be at the same spot as your other classmates because you might be moving faster than they are or slower than they are. But it's important to understand that you're going at your own pace because this is really your classroom. It's not Mr. Willette's math classroom, right? This is your math classroom. we go back to the Bitmoji classroom here, another way we're going to be learning math is through Decktoys. So let's hit Unit 1. So now that you're here, you're going to create a student account. New display name. So we'll call this one Test Student. The password can be any password that you wish. But what I enjoy about Decktoys is that there's a start, and then it keeps going to the first lesson. And as you move through Decktoys, it's like moving through the lesson bit by bit. So you notice you have the same videos. Your review is the adding integers with integer chips. Then you have a little trial so you can try it yourself. Then the same notes video as before. But you notice once you get here, there's a little lock. That's because whether you're at home or you're in school, you're going to have your teacher check your notes and those on your own problems to make sure you're ready to move on. So that means that you're going to request the teacher's approval. And if you're at home, you're going to upload that image and then you can move on. So here, I'm going to upload a generic image. And we can move on. Then comes the practice. So again, this is from the textbook, and when you're finished, you can take a picture with your phone and upload it. Then there's a small poll just to see how well you understood the lesson. And that lets your teacher know if you need any extra help. When you finish that, that's the end of the adding integers activity, and you would move on to subtracting integers. So that's Decktoys. That's going to be the main method of how we are learning through this hybrid system. Okay. So even though we have this backup where you can get to the lessons, the way that your progress is going to be tracked isn't going to be through that tab. It's going to be through Decktoys, which again, you just click on Unit 1 and it brings you to your deck, okay? And it saves your progress because you've already completed Unit 1. That's an overview of the class and how it'll be run. So you're going to follow the safety protocols that we've put in place. Again, you'll come in, you'll sit in your probably assigned seat, and the do now is going to be to check your goal calendar. And your goal calendar is going to say what lesson you're working on. And you're going to look at that every day so you can just keep track of your progress. All of the information that you need is going to be in your Google Classroom. This is another possible place where I might put the units if Decktoys doesn't end up working out. Where you'll definitely find here, though, are projects that we do on Wednesdays, any required forms that I need, and your math goal calendar. So let's take a look at the math goal calendar.